Question that came up this afternoon about how do we take this experience back into our lives? How do we maintain this balance, this divine feeling? It's one thing here in Rishikesh on the banks of Ganga, but how do we take that back with us? Well, the only way to do it is first to understand what it is here that feels so different. There's a part you can't take home, and there's a part we can take home. Now, it would be really nice if we could somehow take home the Himalayas, take home Ganga, take home Puja Swamiji singing the Arti. Unfortunately, that's the part we can't take home. However, the good news is that through all of those, actually what changes us is something that happens inside. Yes, the atmosphere is divine. Yes, we are in the lap, the cradle of divinity. But that which happens within us. And we go back. And so what is it that happens in us that we can take back? I'll talk about just a couple of different pieces. The first is that when we're here, most of us tend to be very, very present. Whereas when we're back in our other lives, we tend to be very, very distracted. Obviously, jobs, families, errands, grocery shopping, traffic, all of the stuff that the regular life is made up of. I know that. And yet, there's no rule that says you can only be present with peace. You can only be present in joy. You can only be present when everything is spiritual. You can only be present when what you're doing is seva and not work. The practice of mindfulness, awareness, presence, ultimately is actually something that we should take into every aspect of our life. And one of the things that I always share is the only chance we have for joy, for peace, for all of that which we're looking for in life is in this present moment. If you are not here right now, I can guarantee you're not happy. If you're not here right now, you're not peaceful. You may be sitting in satsang in Rishikesh on the banks of Ganga in the lap of the Himalayas and the presence of a revered saint. All the ingredients are there. But if your awareness is not here, if your mind is somewhere else, I can guarantee that in this moment you are not experiencing joy. Because all of the ingredients are not enough until and unless we are also there. Puja Swamiji can be there, Ganga can be there, the Himalayas can be there, the ashram is there. But if we're not there, there is no joy, there is no peace. And so we are that critical element, our awareness. It's obviously a lot nicer and easier to be mindful and aware when you're sitting in satsang or sitting at Arti or sitting on the banks of Ganga. It's easier. That which you're absorbing feels good. You're being told you're divine. You're being told about God. It's a lot harder to be mindful and present when somebody's shouting at you. It's a lot harder to be mindful and present when you're stuck on the subway and the people around you reek of alcohol. and are pushing into you. It's a lot harder to be mindful and present when you're doing a job that you know is of no benefit to the world. And maybe in some cases is even harming the world. But really the practice of mindfulness is such that wherever we go, whatever situation we are in, we need to be present there. The answer to those situations is not, how tightly can I squeeze my eyes shut and pretend I'm sitting on the banks of Ganga? That's what most of us do. Nothing wrong with it. It's a very normal and natural response. But it's not the highest level. Because the highest level of real spiritual experience is wherever you are. That's your present moment. That's your opportunity for joy and peace. Yes, you can squeeze your eyes closed and remember when you were at peace in Rishikesh. It'll make that moment slightly more bearable. But it's not actually going to give you peace and joy riding the subway, or give you peace and joy in your office or boardroom. The only way to have it there is to bring your mindfulness there. And so the first answer is being aware. And being aware without judgment. So it's not that we're judging them, they're crazy. They're drunk, they're this, they're that. And we're also not judging ourselves. I'm stupid. I can't believe I made that mistake. I can't believe I'm stuck in this situation. I need to be able to handle it. I'm weak. All of the stuff we tell ourselves. So it's no judgment. The practice of mindfulness and awareness is literally we are just witnessing it. We are just witnessing it. And just allowing the moment to unfold. If you sit on the beach and you watch the ocean and the waves are stormy, you have a choice. You can jump in or you cannot jump in. When the ocean is very peaceful and beautiful, it's nice to jump in and have a swim. But when the ocean is stormy, we can stay very peaceful and calm and present with the ocean with our eyes open without jumping in. And when our present situations are like waves in the ocean, because tragically, your awareness and transformation is not going to make you go home and make your bosses and your employees and your family members and your social circle and your neighbors also suddenly miraculously transformed. They're going to still keep doing the same stuff that they did that made you realize you needed to get away in the first place. You've been here. They haven't. And yet, you have a choice to jump in that ocean with them or to sit high on a cliff watching the waves. You don't run away. You don't pretend you're somewhere else. But you also don't jump in. And that's very important. We have that ability. Pujya Swamiji always says we have to stop acting like light bulbs. Someone comes in, flips it on, we go on. They flip it off, we go off. That's how most of us live our lives. People around us flip us on and off, purposely, not purposely. And we, just like the light bulb, go on, off all day. So with that practice of mindfulness is the awareness that I have a choice in every moment to jump in that ocean, to be this light bulb, or not. And that's what you're getting here. That ability. And that goes home with you. And the other piece is here, it's a spiritual place. You come into satsang, you're expecting that we're going to talk about spiritual things. You go from here to dinner. Maybe you talk about what was discussed in satsang. Maybe you talk about the yoga class. Maybe you talk about arti. Maybe you talk about your meditation. But in general, you're understanding that people are spiritual. So you're talking about spiritual things. You actually have that ability when you go back. I don't mean that you'll never go to the movies. I don't mean that you're never going to laugh about a TV commercial. But what I mean is that expectation in every situation. Instead of expecting the people around us to act just like machines, recognize that within them lies that same spirit that you're connecting with people here. They have that same spirit. It may not be awakened. They may not be aware of it, but it's there. And if you, when you go back, can connect with that in them, so lead with your heart, lead with your spirit, and try to connect with that in the people around you. It won't work with everyone. There's plenty of people who will look at you like you're crazy, who will say, don't talk to me like that. Your boss may say, just shut up and do what I tell you to do. I don't want to hear about God or spirit. Okay. You're not going to win them all. But what you will find is at least some people of a community. When we come here for satsang, the word satsang literally means in the presence of truth. It is an association of truth. Now here we're very blessed to be able to sit in Puja Swamiji's presence. But the association of truth does not require a guru. We're going to come back to that because the second question was actually about gurus. But to end this one, it doesn't require the presence of a guru. If you have a community of people, whether that community is 3 or 4 or 30 or 40, doesn't matter. You don't need 40 best friends. You don't have time to spend with 40 best friends. If you've got 2 or 3 people in your life, even one person in your life, with whom you can connect on that spirit-to-spirit level, that's enough. If you don't already have that person back home, find one as soon as you get there. They absolutely exist. But you've got to lead with the heart, lead with the spirit, be that magnet of what you're carrying back with you. And I guarantee you, whatever city or country you live in, as a magnet, you will attract at least one, if not more people, to be your sangha, to be your community when you're there. And that's very, very important because that will keep you able to be present with where you are and bring in all of the transformation that you've had without trying to make your employers or your employees or your spouses or your parents or your children understand the transformation you've had. And of course, lastly, we're always here. And so yes, some of us are blessed enough to be here long term. Others of you will have to go back. But remember, we're here. And it's not like getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden where it's sort of a forever thing. You go back, you do what you have to do, and then you come back.